I'm here with Dean, and on TC, we're going to talk about.
Imagine the Rock and Roll Party in coalition with the WorldWide Fairplay for Frogs Committee, or there's more to the new age than parking on the front row. Is that
That's right.
this is this is a book by my friend T.C. Townsend. Many of you know him as Based Grandfather.
Right. So,
Uh,
my first question is, did you enjoy it?
I did. You are a good storyteller. It's an interesting 4 years of your life. You were very open and honest about your life, your antics, your delusions, your bullshit, your accomplishments. It's just a very frank, entertaining, and enlightening read. What is it? 250 pages. Went through it
262.
pretty doggone quickly, and I enjoyed it. You are the first person I have ever met who ever started their own political party.
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Well, it was, as we say, it was a lot of smoke and mirrors. So, what
Uh,
did you think about the fact that I spent my first 15 years in the counterculture of drugs, sex, drugs, and rock and roll?
I did that from 14 to 21. I think in America, many, in fact, probably if it's not a majority, if it's not more than 50%, it's doggone close, especially people my age and older, spent plenty of time in that environment and in that culture. To me, it wasn't shocking. It wasn't unusual. Let's put it that way. You already know that I spent much of my adult life working with the homeless and with prisoners, and then I have a crazy family story. So I've I've dealt with the sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle my entire 55 years, and yeah, that wasn't shocking or anything. I still deal with lots of people who, whether as a chosen lifestyle, whether as an attempt at enlightenment, whether as an attempt at escape or something else, they're still involved in that in some way or another. It's not shocking. It wasn't scandalous to me. It was just, oh wow, he's letting it hang out. This is cool.
Yeah. What's your main takeaway from the book?
Well, hopefully, I got the right lessons from it that you wanted, and that is think globally, act locally, and deal with your own bullshit.
Right.
And now understand, I had already, hopefully, I had already learned this lesson in my life. Um,
Hmm.
but it is much more likely that you will see your own delusions if you are sober and making wise choices in your life. For me, in my 20s, 30s, and 40s, I was indeed sober, or at least not using, and still being completely deluded and delusional,
Yeah.
right? And living in a world that doesn't exist. It was a very rude and discouraging awakening at 46 and a half when it happened to me, right? That was the big takeaway that I got. It's great that you want to change the world, and you should try to change the world, especially the world around you, as long as you understand that the world really doesn't change, we change, and it's better, it's much more effective to work on yourself than it is to work on other people.
Is there any more you want to talk about?
You were, and I don't want to put any spoilers in here, so I'm going to sound a little vague for people who are watching or listening. But you were incredibly open, including about a few relationships that you had. Was that scary for you? And is there a specific philosophy behind that?
Was it scary to reveal myself?
Yeah.
No. It feels good.
Okay.
I mean, it's like relief, not having to hide, not having anything to hide. I don't have to worry about what I'm going to say or what I'm going to think or what I'm going to do because I already told you. You already know the
Yeah.
worst story I could tell you. So,
Yeah. Also in the book, you talk about some of the rock and roll stars that you got to meet. Who was your favorite? What was your favorite meeting where you ran into somebody who was a rock and roll star?
well, in the book, the main meeting was when the Grateful Dead came and they played at the racetrack not far from Sunrise Springs where I was staying. They stayed at Sunrise Springs. It was funny. I was telling the owner, I said, imagine them coming to stay here. And everybody said, no, they'll never come here. They're, da, 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 da. And it turned out, for whatever reason, they had no choice but to come there. And they came and they stayed where I was working. So after the show, I'm, good Grateful Dead. You trip at their shows. I mean, that's what you do at the Grateful Dead show. You drop acid and groove. And so I'm still tripping, and they come back from the show, and they're down in the bar, and so I go down into the bar and try to engage them, and so that was the closest I came to actually encountering a personal relation with them, and it's all covered in the book. So yeah.
Right.
Would you recommend the book to others?
Yes, I already have. You don't know this, but I've already published the first I've done at least two, and I'm probably going to do more. But I've already put the first review on TikTok, where I took one of your quotes from the book and put it out there. It's a good book. It is a good read. I was surprised at how quickly I got through it, and I was disappointed when I came to the end. So.
Oh, that's great.
I was very pleasantly surprised at number one that you're a good writer and a good storyteller. I was surprised at how open and honest you were, not just about the stories, the fun stories that you tell, but also about your mistakes and other things. Yeah, and I love how you kept coming back to, I needed to take personal responsibility. I needed to deal with my own stuff. I wasn't dealing with my own stuff, right?
Right.
And how you finally came back to, yeah, I just decided I need to deal with my own stuff. And that's not to take away from, that doesn't mean you stopped working for world peace. You just realized you weren't going to be effective at all until you dealt with your own stuff,
Right.
right? So, um, yeah, it was it's good. Everybody go get the book.
Go get the book. Well, thanks, Dean. Dean, you were the first person to read my book. Yeah. Great review.